Good evening, everyone. Welcome down to When I Was Your Age. Podcast talking about stuff that's common today and what it was like when I was your age, going back from the 70s to the early 90s. Tonight is going to be a little bit different, and I know that I've kind of, taken a little bit of time extra off that I otherwise wouldn't have, and I apologize for that. This has been a very unusual year for me, so thank you very much for your patience. If you have some topics that you would like me to cover, and I know there have been stuff that has been sent in to me I haven't gotten to yet, I'm sorry. I told you things have been bad. This one I've done no prep for whatsoever. Give you an idea as to what it's like. Email address is right here on the screen for you right now. shujintribble@gmail.com. Just send me your information and I will see what I can do. And just, again, thank you very much. And for those of you that are actually looking for these kinds of things, yes, I added a little someone over here into the studio. Thank you very much. And for those of you that are wondering, yes, it is a little standee of the Series 2 card collection for the My Little Ponies. This is Nightmare Moon, who is one of the villains. All right? So she's just there. I'll talk about that another time. What I wanted to talk with you guys about tonight is something that's been creeping in more and more and more. And I've been noticing it over the last 10 years, really. Probably even give or take a little bit longer. And it's got everything to do with, well, being a sales cashier. So those of you that are working with cash boxes or registers, or if you manage people who do, you may want to take attention to this one because this is going to be a little bit weird for you. When I was, give or take about 16, I believe it was 16? Yeah, 16, I got my first job at a local drugstore. As a matter of fact, I don't have any problem with naming it. I might even be able to find the picture that I've got of it. And if I do, here it is on YouTube. It was called Belmont Surgical. Belmont Drugs. It was a great place to work at. Not because of what it was, but because of who was there. The bosses that worked there, Howie and Mitch, two of the nicest bosses I could have ever hoped for. And to this day, I still compare every job I have ever had to working there because it was just that good. Seriously. Now, I was always taught that you work with the register and you work in your head with the math because, fortunately, we work with a decimalized currency based off of 100. Now, at the time when I first started, we had a weird register. It was a combination of electric and mechanical because every once in a while, if there was a big storm like a hurricane living on Long Island, every once in a while you would see them. The power would go out, and we didn't have a generator or anything like that. So if the lights went out and we still needed to operate, one of us would go down into the basement, because that's where we kept it, take a flashlight, go down to the basement, and get the hand crank. Bring it back up, open up a little slot on the side of the cash register, big honking mechanical piece, chuck it into the side, and somebody had something that they wanted to buy. Okay, how much was it? Okay, it was $2.33. Tick, tick, tick. Grab the handle, crank. How much are they giving you? $5? Okay, $5. Sale, crank. The big numbers, you might remember these in cartoons. The big numbers would pop up in the window, and it would say, you are returned $1 and however much cents. Now, I'm not doing it in my head right now because I don't even know what I'm talking about, so don't worry about it. But I was always taught, get the change first, give that to the customer, then get the bills, and then give that to the customer. And then when that's done, hand them their package in a bag with the receipt inside. Here's what I'm sick and tired of, because this happened yesterday at Target. And you know what? I got no problem with saying it. For anybody who wants to go ahead and call me on this one, it happened at Target in Orchard Park, New York, on Amelia Drive, right off of Mile Strip Road and US 219. You want to go ahead and look it up? There it is, right there. Here's what happened. I went to the checkout and I had four or five items, whatever the hell it was. Only had a couple of things. And whenever I go to the registers, because I've worked the registers on a lot of different places, I always look somebody in the eye, and I always ask, "Hi, I hope that you're having a good day." And if possible, I call them by name, by what's on their name badge. Because people are not nameless, faceless people to me. People are people. And I try to treat everyone as nicely as possible, as personal as possible, without being creepy. Because, I mean, let's face it, me, yeah. So, couple of things, ring it through. Okay, your total is blah, whatever it was. It doesn't matter. And I said, it was under $20. And I was like, okay, out of 20. And I pulled out 20. Cash. Ooh, I know, how weird. And I handed her the $20 bill. And I've got my wallet up on top of the board so that I can put my bills away. I can put my change in my pocket. And what happened is an absolute travesty as far as customer service is concerned. It wasn't so much that she gave me the change in the fold of the bills at the same time, which is annoying, which is something that's been happening more and more and more and more. And I really, really, really detest that. But it was with the receipt at the same time. I hadn't yet put away the change or my bills or the receipt or even picked up my bags, and her focus is already to the next customer and starting to ring it through. I wanted to say, and I didn't, I wanted to say, "Excuse me, name. I'm not done with my transaction yet. Your job to me is not quite complete. Please wait for me to leave so that you can put your attention to the next person. Thank you very much." But I didn't do that. Because, contrary to popular belief, I'm not a dick to be a dick. But here's the thing. If you run a register, or if you manage people who do, please remember, there is nothing wrong with giving someone their change first, their actual coins first. Let them inspect that. That's good. Good. Into the pocket. Or into whatever their little carrying maybe they got one of those little plastic half moon kind of squeeze it open kind of mouth kind of things. You know what I'm talking about. Let them put that away. Show them bills. Okay, you've got $7 coming back. Here's 5, 1, 2. That's 7. Here you go. Good. Let me put that away. Fold that up. Okay, that's good. That's done. Okay. Here is your bag with all of your stuff. The receipt is inside. Or even better, while they're putting their bills away, rip off the receipt so that they can see it. Here's a receipt. It's going into the bag. Boom, done. Here you go. Thank you. Have a nice day. Yes, we are just a sale to the company. But if you're doing the job, I understand that in some cases you're just doing the job just because you kind of have to, because you needed the job. But really, There's nothing wrong with doing the job well. Make it worthwhile. You're going to be there anyway. And I say that because I'm dealing with something myself at my job where, and yes, this is. I'm not quite sure how much of this I should talk about, but I'm going to go ahead and do this because it's kind of a twofer. And this has got everything to do with being concerned with the people that you service. I had somebody at work the other week asked me how I was doing because I was coming into work and it was the, I don't like to use the term anniversary, but that's what it was. It was the anniversary of the day when my wife died. So I was not in really happy shape, as you can probably imagine. And what I was told was, well, you know what? You just need to buck up and get through it. The best thing to do is just to keep yourself busy, right? Really, that's the attitude that you've got? After 8 years, I'm still hurting. And this is really the way that you think is a good way for me to be dealt with? Tuesday, I went back into work and was again asked by the same person how I was doing because I was kind of slow and kind of squinty, and I admitted I had a huge, big time headache. I mean, bad. To the point where I probably should have taken some kind of painkiller of some kind. Well, you just need to buck up and just get through it and grind away. Really? It's gotten to the point where I actually want to say, why do you ask when you truly don't care? Now, I know that I could go ahead and I could, bring up the mentions of this and probably other stuff that's happened that I can't think of off the top of my head and actually bolster my statement and say, look, I'm telling the truth. I mean, it's not my fault that you don't like it. But that's just going to end up causing strife, so I won't do that. I guess what it comes down to is dealing with each other on a basis that isn't, how could I say, dismissive. We're all here, we're all people, and I try to treat people as well as I can, and I'm sure that most of us kind of do the same thing. But there's nothing wrong with just taking a couple of seconds to at least make it look like you care. Howie and Mitch, at one time talking about a doctor, one time had said, talking about whether or not a doctor was, being a nice person or not, or just being a shyster. And they basically said, as near as I can quote them, if you're going to be a fake, if you're going to be a liar, keep being a liar. Don't stop. Meaning, if you're going to lie to people and make it look like you're a nicer person than what you really are, don't stop doing that. Just keep being a nice person to people. You don't have to really be, but they don't have to know that. Kind of makes sense. You don't always have to be the nicest of people to me. All I ask is that you be honest. More importantly, you don't treat me as if I don't matter. Think about it. Funny part about this is I have no idea how I'm going to label this particular edition, this particular volume, but I'm sure I'll come up with something. Next week, I'm going to talk about the console wars after some announcements had come out recently from a large manufacturing and coding company, but we'll talk about that later. You think the console wars now are weird? Yeah. We had stuff going back in my day, too. But that's for next week. Meantime, as always, thank you for listening. If you have something that you'd like me to cover, please, by all means, again, email me, shujintribble@gmail.com. In a couple of weeks or so, I'm probably going to see about having another conversation with George Robb, the guy who has graciously allowed me to use his music as the opening and closing here. And we will see what happens. Also, please, of course, don't forget, I will be at Anthrocon. You'll be able to find me there on Saturday night, and I will keep announcing that. Friday night, I'll be doing the Furry Femme shoot for photography. And then Saturday night, I'll be recording my Wednesday night show. Yes, I know that's confusing, but hey, that's the way it works. But of course, as always, until next time, everyone, thank you so very much for being with me. And of course, until later, as always, I wish you the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. Until next time, take care.
You know what's true? Before you can say boo, you'll be my age too.